when this artist Ai Weiwei was arrested, and they came like, "Can you give us the keys? We had already a venue and everything, you know. And can you go home?" I started this small club, and we realized it doesn't work financially, you know. We brought big names, but it didn't work. And when you bring big names today, they have a big fee, and the club has maybe a capacity of 700 people. The people, young people, have not the money anymore. Money is not there, so that means to charge an entrance of 20 euros doesn't work. They don't have it.
Okay. Hi everyone. Welcome back to Destroy It, the English with Pedro. I'm Pedro. And once more, thanks to Dantz Network Congress for thinking in us to participate in. And now, if yesterday we had talked about the recognition by UNESCO of Techno of Berlin as intangible heritage of humanity, today I would like to talk about another point of the electronic industry from more social point of view that links with this. Can clubs strengthen social fabric? Is the item for today. Dimitri Hegemann, founder of Tresor, tells us different aspects of the project called Dortmund Tresor West and the Tresor Foundation mission, and the importance of small clubs within the fabric of electronics. Good morning, Dimitri.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for bringing me.
Did you sleep well?
No, actually, I ate something wrong, and I was kind of, you know, I had a heavy night.
But are you okay?
I'm back, great now again. You know.
Okay. Well, before begin, tell me you a silly short story. Yesterday, I was joking with part of the Network Congress dance team about a film from 1989. And today, this morning, when I have breakfast, I have remembered a film from 1989, directed by Phil Alden Robinson. The protagonist, the main character, was Kevin Costner, called The Field of Dreams. I don't know if you know it, maybe. Well, you can search later. And in this film, there is a sentence, important sentence around the film that says, if you build it, they will come. And I have remembered that, and I think about Dimitri's career on history and all his work about these years. And I think when he started with Tresor after the fall of the wall in Berlin, until now, I think I was thinking, silly idea, maybe aliens with the techno is associated to alien people, maybe aliens say in your head, if you build it, they will come, no? As a Tresor. And now, oh, sorry.
We got a lot of enemies. I don't know how many among us here. And yeah, I mean, you know, one of the guys I started very early, Jeff Mills, you know, he's really this
I know.
to the outer space, you know. And
yeah, I know. Well, seriously, we begin this talk, and my first question is obviously, when did you realize you had the mission of a start at Tresor club in the West, and why in Dortmund?
Actually,
Earlier.
I mean, actually, I have had this idea. I came from a small village close to Dortmund, and I tried to do it before, to give something back, I grew up there, I was a teenager, and I had a great time in my childhood, but when I turned older, I wanted to change something in my village, but too many no's, no way, you better leave, and that was the reason I left my hometown and moved to Berlin. So actually now I turned older and I saw Tresor is working, so why not try to give a small Tresor back to that area where I came from? And that was one point. And there was an offer of an old industry space, a basement, a nice outside area. But I must say, I moved to Berlin in '78 already, and I forgot what was happening in the West Germany. I was not so close. I hang out in Berlin and Detroit and so. But West Germany was a bit unknown for me, over the decades. Actually, when I came there and we started, then I realized the problems in the countryside. The police, restrictions. The curfew, that means the clubs had to close by 4 in the morning or so. In Berlin, we don't have that. Since 1949, we had no curfew. That was one of the most important reasons the nighttime economy or the clubs could work, all night through, or 24, 48 hours party time. And that was a new situation, but I have started, so I thought I will bring it to an end. We have also different tax situations in West Berlin. Club Berghain, they fight it for a special reason that, in a club, if there's a live show like a jazz club, they pay on 7% on the entrance, not 19, what is normal. If you have a top 20 disco, you pay 19% on the entrance. And that was also the same in Dortmund. There you had to pay 19%, so I had to talk and to fight there with the mayor and nightmare stories. And then also they had a kind of a special tax. It was like in German Vergnügungssteuer, like fun tax. If you're in sex shops or in gambling houses, this kind of companies, also clubs in the same group of business, they have to pay this tax of 20%. That means if you're a promoter and you charge 10 euros, 20% goes straight to the tax. Then another 19%, that's sad. So I really worked on that during Corona. We opened on 2019 when Corona started, like 2 months later, and we had to close down. But that was a time where I could talk to the city and we could change this. But I did not realize that the people are different, They do not have the narrative in the Dortmund area, the Ruhr area. It's bigger than Berlin. It has 14 million people. But when we started the techno revolution in Berlin in 1990, 91, after the fall of the wall, we were quite oddie in Berlin, where we didn't care about what was happening around us. And I must say, in cities we have had the wall in Berlin, not in Dortmund or Munich or Frankfurt, So it was a complete different situation. And the narrative of electronic nights, electronic dance parties happened in Berlin, not in Dortmund. So all these 30 years, nothing really happened. The people who were interested living in Berlin, Dortmund area, they moved to Berlin out, So there was nothing, actually. You came into a desert, and I said, oh, God, nobody is interested in this kind of music. They have kind of festivals, May Day or so, but there was no club culture, not grown club culture, and that was very hard to do it. And I must say we had great names, DJs who played in Berlin at Tresor, who attract maybe 1,000, 1,500 people. Nobody cared in Dortmund, 200. And then the TikTok movement came, and that's changed a lot. In Berlin, I don't know if you know, when you go to a club, they tape the handy, and the reason behind is that everything that happens, you know, in the club
Not in Dortmund.
should stay in the club and not in Dortmund. So we brought this idea up from Berlin and taped, you know, the handies. And they didn't understand what the fuck is going on, you know. So it was a different.
I was very surprised with the story about bats and the decibels of the bell tower of Berlin in 2002, and the people against the noise of music of the club. What angry people?
So I didn't get the question completely. You were surprised about that?
I'm very surprised about the history about the people against the noise of the music club.
Yeah.
That you won start in Berlin.
Yeah.
In 2002.
Yeah.
And the history, the experts explain that the bats, it doesn't matter the decibels of the bell of tower of the city.
Okay.
And the people it was angry with the noise of the music.
Yeah, that was, I mean, that still is, everybody who runs a venue knows the neighborhood problem. It's happening, but you know, times have changed, and even the city of Berlin understood that techno, the nighttime economy, it's an economy actually, is important for the city, for the business of the city. It's a marketing tool, you know, and that's also a reason why many people move to Berlin, or even for a weekend, you know, to have fun. And the city actually offered now a noise protection fund. So that this club has a problem with the neighbors, and an engineer comes, and sound engineer, and says, okay, when we change this and that, that's cost maybe 60,000 euros, we paid, you know. And so the city pays, like the budget is about 1.5 million, you know, and it's possible. So all the clubs try to protect it, and it's good. I mean, anyway, for me, acoustics in the club, here's a quite good acoustic, is really important, the same importance like sound system, you know. People sometimes think we have a big sound system, a function one, and we don't care about the acoustic treatments of the walls, and everything will work. That's not wrong. But also for the noise coming outside, you know, to the neighbors, it's a solution, you know, that we have these possibilities to get this far. More important is that we talked about yesterday about the recognition of the UNESCO, you know, that the people recognize now, also the cities, the governments, you know, techno is not too crazy, you know, it's not just party and drugs, you know, it is a part of our culture, you know, and people really want it. So this helps us to get out of this dirty image, you know, like a gambling house or a sex shop and so on. No? So that really helps, and we are more recognized. And I said also yesterday that many people who started in the 90s and dancing all night through are now in positions in the city, you know. I remember we had a great time, you know, and that makes it a bit easier, but that's Berlin, you know. But Dortmund area, you know, I started this small club, and we realized it doesn't work financially, you know. We brought big names, but it didn't work. And when you bring big names today, they have a big fee, you know, they ask for a quite big fee, and the club has maybe a capacity of 700 people. And so, it's but it didn't work because we discussed it by end of last year. Young people have not the money anymore. Money is not there. So that means to charge an entrance of 20 euros doesn't work. They don't have it. 20 euros. First you have to drive there, maybe it costs 15, 20 or so.
Have a drink.
And then the entrance, and you drink something, then you have to get back.
Back to home?
Yeah, 70 euros, nobody has this money. The situation in the rural area is that, that was new for me too, that the festivals, many festivals in the summertime, they kill clubs, you know, because the people go to a festival once a month, and that's it. They don't go to the clubs anymore. So we asked ourselves, what can we do? And then we decided after talks, we renounce on the entrance fee, 0 entrance, you know, boom. And we said back to the underground, we saved the underground voices. You can read it on the internet under Tresor voice. And the feedback was enormous, enormous. From a club that had maybe 200 people, now we have 720, 730, 650. So the people came, I don't know where they all came from, but also a complete new generation, They 20 up to 27, some elderly, but they came and they had really fun. And what it means also, and I made the research, I was like, they said that the names of, if the quality of the music is good, and there are hundreds of DJs, they work hard at home, they have the equipment, and they never have a chance to play a full house, And now they saw the stage, and it came like 150 people came asking to play for free. We give maybe very low fee, like 100, and we looked for local DJs and the area, and also maybe sometimes crews coming up. But it does work, and they were very happy. It is like, you mentioned a great bar,
Wow.
electronic music, great music, 4, 5, 6 DJs at night. And it's really packed. It's touchy. People move. It's a great atmosphere. People don't care who is playing. Doesn't matter if these big names come. If a big name comes, it's also right. But you cannot make it for free. So we said, over 3 months now we do this. And it's growing. And it's
the
growing.
community, about the community night.
Yeah, the community. We call it community nights. The idea behind it is that we bring these people together, and as I said, it's a new generation. They don't care about these big names sometimes, and I see it in other clubs. They book a DJ or more big name or popular, and they charge the door money on 25 or so. People don't have this money, so it doesn't work. This problem is in many clubs, I see this. And so we have a couple of clubs, they follow us now. They said, we fuck on the entrance, we try to make all the money through the drinks, And but after we realized also it doesn't work, Still some money is missing. So we said people, also it should not be complete for nothing. So we decided on €5. That's €5. People, if they don't want to pay €5 for a great night, then it doesn't work. Then we have to give up. But it was actually a great research, and we are the only club now. They said no entrance anymore.
As you know, I consider you a visionary. Maybe.
Tonight we have in Berlin. I forgot it. We are already 34 years of Tresor. I forgot the jubilee when I said coming here, and then today I realized it. And we have now DJs from Detroit also. They play Berlin, so I said, can you play also Dortmund? So I want to see tonight Blake Baxter is playing Juan Atkins. If they do,
you can positive response.
Yeah. I would just want to see if the people don't care. I had it with a couple of DJs. They in Berlin, boom, and 400 kilometers in. Nobody cares. Yeah. What does this mean, Okay. We have to think about it. But I think also the result of this action is club owners and bookers should think about if we can change the situation, if we can build up more community nights for the community, from the community, for the community, so that the people who come also have a perspective. This is our club.
Back at the origins of the underground culture.
Yeah, because... And I have seen, the youngsters who maybe in the beginning of the 20s now, they don't know all this history, what happened 30 years before, and they're not so interested. On the other side, I must say, we also run a record company, and all the Detroit acts, what we signed in the 90s, very early 90s, these records get sold now, But the new release is not so heavy, But the old, maybe they remember or they start research, I cannot say. I have friends, their parents have kids, 17 years. They think they know what the kids think and do. They know nothing, I must agree with that, they know nothing. But,
You consider yourself a hippie.
Yes.
And then are you now still nowadays electronic hippie?
Yes, you can say this, because when I grew up, it's maybe interesting. I was born in '54, and when I grew up, we had nothing, because all my parents, the parents of my friends, teachers, they were all educated, socialized in the Third Reich. They had complete, and I grew up with Woodstock. I saw Jimi Hendrix and psychedelic music, and I was reading Timothy Leary, LSD, and
1969 Woodstock Festival. It changed the world.
Yeah, it changed, and I really liked the values of the hippie movement. The peace movement. We remember Vietnam. Also the community living together with
values.
The green idea was happening. All these goals came back in the techno movement again, when the Love Parade came up. I could say déjà vu, but I had to fight, because, as I said, my teachers, everybody was against this, It was a difficult time, and there was nothing. Everything I bought, also from the music, came from the UK or US, And when I listened to Hendrix, Vanilla Fudge, and so, my parents didn't understand what's wrong with the boy. And I remember I bought this Electric Lady-led album, and it's a club cover with beautiful nude girls inside. I had to hide it under the bed because I said no. It was so different, this time. And then one day I decided to move. I go there where I can maybe meet other people who think different. So I moved to West Berlin, and I met, in fact, people who had similar problems and also moved to this city. Sometimes it's a decision, it's worse, If nothing changed, you better move your ass and go for a while,
But you think the people who think in a special way, they go all the Berlin.
Berlin was, in those days, it was open-minded people, many from all over, and it has had this, or still has this narrative from the 20s, It was always a place to meet where open ideas and thoughts got mixed up, and you met other people. It was when I came to Berlin. It was great. The wall was there.
Yeah.
I liked islands these days.
The life is
so I actually moved to Ibiza also in those days, and I saw Bob Marley on Ibiza. This is 100 years ago, But anyway, I like that if a city, can offer you this quite open regulations, and if you have space, affordable space, then things happen, Give the youth space, and something will happen, But they must afford it. Today, Berlin has changed, everything's very expensive. And when I came to Berlin, I came with the musical taste of Joy Division and the early Cure and stuff like that. I was listening there. But when I came to Berlin, I listened to, there was this band, it's called the Berliner Krankheit, It was like Einstürzende Neubauten, collapsing new buildings, and notorische Reflexe, Sprung aus den Wolken, really weird names, and they just made noise. I didn't understand, what is this, They came on stage with the flags on iron and made fire and performances, body painting and Super 8. It was completely new for me, But I'm a curious person, so I liked it, and I got in touch and started the festival called Berlin Atonal, That was 82 and 83, 84. And when the wall came down, I started Tresor. I let Rested in Peace, the Atonal, and we started in 2012 again. Now it's a very popular festival for experimental music, also in sounds, in vision, and also in food. We think also somebody is doing great food is also a great artist, so we bring them in. And
the food is important too.
Yeah, it is definitely important. And then after a while, I said, what will happen? When you're young, you never see an end coming up. But after a while, I said, all this knowledge, this experience, what can we do? It was always my dream to learn something somewhere.
And then is when arrived Tresor Foundation.
Yeah, yeah. That was the reason why I said, how can I save all this know-how? You know.
Why?
I talked also to a good friend of mine. His name is Mike Banks. He runs the Underground Resistance Collective, and I said, Mike, what's happening when you crash tomorrow? You are the man behind Underground Resistance. Did you ever think about tomorrow? You know, I said, no, Dimitri, what can we do? I said, I think about doing a foundation for eternity. That's an institution, you know. You write down the roots, you know, and this is for the eternity. Even if I'm gone, you know, if I pass away, that this philosophy keeps on working. And so we did this foundation, and the most important goal in this foundation is to save the spaces where a curated venue is working, operating, you know. That was always a problem, and still is, that young club makers have no idea about contracts, you know.
I can know the foundation promotes the implementation of electronic clubs in small cities through different programs, including a mentoring program like how to manage a club for young promoters.
This is
how it works.
Yeah, this is one part of the foundation. So we have wants to save spaces. The one like what we do, we work in an old power plant, and the bad contracts were for many club owners just 5 years, maybe another option 5 years. Sometimes a club is running after 10 years, and then you have nothing, you know.
Yeah.
So you need a contract for 50 years or more. And this is one part. The second part of the foundation is how to transfer the know-how, the experience to a younger generation. So we started the academy.
Like a
It's an
for the young.
It's an academy, you know. Academy of Subcultural Understanding. We mainly invite people, mostly 6. We have 80 applications, and what they do, 6 people, not from Berlin. Berlin is excluded. We have too many in Berlin, but from the countryside, you know, because I have seen and I've observed that in any small city, at least there are 2 people who want to change the world, you know. Like I was young, and they are there, and they don't know sometimes, but they are the right people. You must find them, and if you do a call, I made it many times in a small city, in the newspaper. Today we have a meeting, blah blah blah. Everybody who is interested to make the cultural program richer, you know, come by 4 p.m. You know, and people came, like 30, 20 people, and the main question I said, what is good, what is not so good in your town? What would you change? Money doesn't matter, you know. And then we do these workshops over the weekend. They make these papers. I would do this. I would do this. Finally, we cluster it, and the result was always we needed space, you know. But then the question: who runs it? You know, who runs this space, and how to run it? You know, how to run a club, and this is what the academy transfers in the workshops. The training takes 3 months, and you learn. It's a dual system. You learn a lot, everything about awareness, you know, about night managing, bar, you know, selection and all that stuff. And you learn the theoretical part. Theory is the business, you know. You learn a lot of theory. If these young people coming, everybody has a case study. You know, I got this old church or this old factory, and we are 100 people. We don't know, you know, they don't know how to structure themselves, you know. How can we structure ourselves? How can we move forward? How can we talk to politicians and all these things? So a lot of questions, so we bring also a lawyer or architects, you know, how we can solve. This is very important.
The bureaucracy.
Bureaucracy, you know, and it works. And in that case, also this UNESCO recognition helps a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
Because my also observation was that in the club, even in the 90s and so,
there is a flexibility of legal requirements.
Yeah, all this can work out. And these 6 people, when they go back, they must go back. They're not allowed to stay in Berlin, you know.
Yeah.
They go back to Swiss cities like called Erfurt or Bremerhaven, cities of 80,000 people. They're burning, you know. These are the people, they have this character. But what I have seen also in the 90s, and I've observed and still do it, that people who meet in a club sometimes that the club becomes an incubator for new ideas, for foundations also. I mean, to found an entrepreneurship. You know, we meet in the club, have a good time, and say, let's go for something. You know, let's start a gallery tomorrow. You know, and so the club, the staying in the club for one night, so encourage people to go another way sometimes. You know, and that happened in Berlin so heavily that. This movement changed the DNA of the city completely, you know. We have now a turnover of more than 1.6 billion euros a year coming through the clubs and through the night times, you know, economy. And that means that many entrepreneurships like restaurants, like hostels, like cafes, galleries, they haven't been there before the club movement started, you know. And the clubs actually play a very important role in this social, let's say, in this ecosystem, you know. So if in a city, if something's really happening, people think, okay, let's start something, a cool coffee, you know, or big name companies came later also for the IT companies like Ableton and Native Instruments and other companies like Resident Advisor and so on. They all move there, and you can also be sure that you find employees speaking all language you need, you know, intelligent people. Everybody is coming to Berlin, the youngster brings at least one idea. So we have an overdose of ideas how to handle that, you know. Now everything is very expensive, and my project right now is how can we find more space where people can live in. So we have a lot of office space, empty, and I try to change it in the living room. Or we have these shopping malls, they're completely fucked up, you know, and we could do maybe cultural towers with complete different small ideas, from galleries up to small theaters and what else, everything in the shopping mall, you know, bring a second life into this building, you know. It's weird, you don't find a space to live in Berlin, but on the other side we have so much empty spaces, you know. Maybe it's similar in different cities.
I want to ask you if you think are substantial differences in creativity and opportunities depending on the area of the Germany of your life.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we have to scale it down. You know what we see in the capital, like Berlin, or maybe I don't know how is it in your country. You have to scale it down.
A lot difference.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is. But the hope is that there's hope in the small cities. We have empty spaces, you know, and we know that the future belongs to the youth, you know. And when people in the city, when they think seriously about, because most of them have no real plans, you know, what they do with the young generation, that is why. If they try to develop perspectives to stay, that the youngsters stay, they should give them space and give them also this education. And like 3-4 years ago, we have a company I talked to a company, they make books for schools, you know, what you learn, biography, you know. For social lessons, they made electronic music, you know, and I had to work on this book. So you learn it now. If you're 12, 13, what is techno? Where does it come from? What is that? You know, what happened?
It's a part of history.
Yeah, it's a new thing also, no? Yeah. So this things come into the life. But still, I mean, even in Germany, you cannot learn how to run a club, you know, you can't learn it. So it's a complete new entrepreneurship. It should be a job like to learn the electrician, to become an electrician. So how to run a venue, because we need this kind of people.
Yeah.
I call it curators, you know. It's like in a theater, you know. You need a curator who is making the program, or in a philharmonie. And we need it also for the alternative spaces, you know. Mainly it's a space where people can meet and get socialized and work together. And it's, especially in the countryside, what I've seen is that they not just do parties, they also do other social things. They discover their own city, they cook together, you know, or they watch a movie together, you know. So
I think
they got together, that's
I think
all
the young
about
people
it.
don't, or the system don't have, or don't, don't give a permission, social, that you think in a DJ, producer, musical promoter, as a professional.
It is, I mean, it is also a very young development, you know. Back in the days, like 30 years, I say I'm a DJ. In Berlin, maybe it was cool, but somewhere else you could not say that. If you, I remember, I met a girl, and one day she invited me to her parents, and they said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "A nightclub." Oh, they say they're still connected with, you know, striptease and all that shit. So this is still, I mean, it's in the change, you know, but they, it's complicated.
I think so.
It is really a change, but it will change, and it's important, you know, because to share ideas, you know, and to share information among each other in a nice venue or so. That makes sense. I also like if clubs, especially in the countryside, if the kids get together and build their own club, you know, they get a ruin and then they have to fix it, and Uncle Theodore helps to bring the electricity. They said, if you take my son, you know, into this project, I help you. I'm a master of electricity, and things like that happen. Then they have their own house, and everybody who builds a house will stay, you know.
But nightclubs needs electricians.
Yeah. Also, I mean, it is a get together. It is just. I really believe that hanging in the club, it's on the one side, it really helps to find yourself, and it's like also a therapy, you know. It is, you know. I think so. It is really a therapy because you open a door, you enter a parallel world. It depends how the club is curated. And when you leave it, you cannot remember. It was great, go home. But it really helps. It is maybe in big cities, it's a bit dangerous, you know. If you're not stable, you can't fall. I saw many falling down. You must be strong. But despite of all, I think it's a city without a vibrant nightlife, boring. And you need it, I think.
Electronic music and clubs have always been inclusive space for coexistence and diversity. But currently, I'm afraid, a narrative of individualism and rejection of diversity is encouraged now. What do you think about it?
I must ask again the question.
Yeah.
The diversity.
In the beginning, the techno clubs, the music, the electronic music, always been inclusive spaces. And diversity and promote the diversity relationship. But now the social moment we have and political moments is encouraged with separate people.
I got you. Okay, I got you.
And break this point of feelings from electronic music and the reality at this moment around the world.
Yeah, we face the problem too in Berlin. Also, we have the right-wing parties. It's there, definitely, and especially in the countryside, you know, where nothing happened. That's why I really want to have some cultural centers, you know, where people can, even if they're very small, you know. For me, they are kind of castles, you know. That means culture against right-wing movements, you know. If there's nothing going on, a wrong prophet comes and everybody runs behind me. I work a lot in the countryside around Berlin, and sometimes you won't believe it. I don't know if it's here similar, but it's really sad, you know, and I have no solution. I think only we need culture, you know, more offers for young people, especially in the age 14, 15, 16, 17. And we do a project, it's called always to, it's another team, it's called the happylocals.org. You find happy locals. That's the main project we use in the countryside. And we have, when we find a city, let's say 20,000 people, talk to the mayor, he says, oh, we have problems. And then we say, can we do something together? Let's do a workshop. He said, yeah, you have an empty space, an old station or whatever, an old supermarket, empty. Yes, are you ready? I said, yeah. We don't need so much. It's actually the cheapest way comparing to other youth centers and so on. And then he said, okay, it's not about the young people who make the Abitur. I don't know what Abitur is, like Baccalaureate and so on. We call it Bildungsbürgertum. But it's about the people who were kicked out of family, out of school, out of the training education. They're full of anger. You won't believe it.
Yeah.
You know, small Kevin comes, wants to hit you. And I was shocked, you know, because they're full of anger. And then if somebody comes and say, join me, you know, we jump over the fire and hit some special people who take our jobs, you know. But I talked to Kevin, and I got lessons from an elderly lady, Shelley Sachs. She works in Oxford and Edinburgh. She was a student from Joseph Beuys, and she explained me how to work with these people who are full of anger.
Yeah.
And so I talked to Kevin. He was maybe 16 years old, you know. Hey, Kevin, you're important, you know. The world wouldn't turn like it does if you would not be here. You play an important role. Things like that, you know. And they said, okay, I'm with you, you know. And then we worked on this project. It's called, we have education manufacturer that comes from the, I don't know, Bauhaus in the 20s. When you went to Bauhaus, to Dessau or Weimar, you had one semester to check out with what kind of materials you want to work as an art student, with wood or painting, make photos, you know, whatever, concrete, you know. And so we picked up this idea. We make also, we said, education manufacturer. So we have 6-7 people in the countryside, and the idea, we always have teams. It's a creative person, a craftsman, handwerker, and maybe a designer. And then people like Kevin comes, like 6-7 people. Hey, what do you want, Kevin? Yeah, I want to build a car. It's a real, like a Werkstatt, a workshop, where I can, with machines, you know, small, not simple. Okay, we start, and then you go to the junkyard and pick up some things. In the end, he builds a lamp, you know, but it works, you know, boom. Kevin is happy after, you know, 4-6 weeks. And the idea behind it is that in between of this 6 weeks, he thinks about himself, you know, what can I work? I'm not stupid. This is also cool. We bring him back to work, you know, in this workshop. And then he also works then for furniture, for the club, you know, what we do in the countryside. The Bildungsmanufaktur, or the education manufacturer, and the small venue always work together. It's really nice, you know. We made also some films in the internet about that. And they're so happy. You can really change them, but because nothing is happening in the country, these kids get more angry, you know.
Yeah.
Really, and in Germany we have this new party.
Not young.
It's not funny, I tell you. It's, but I still think there is a way to get them on. The problem is they have no culture. They have nothing, you know. If you're 15, you know what, and you live in a city where no offers at all. You just in the internet or hear something from France and so on. And we did a different project, and they all work. Now we work in a city called of Templin, and we have an old slaughterhouse, what we just changed. Always I find teams in the city, and it takes 10-15 minutes, and I know, she got it, you know, and the other got it. They do the lead, you know, and the others all follow. And then we build a house, and we make change, and they, yes, let's go for it, you know. And we accompany them, and after a while we go out, you know, and they understand what to do. The mayor is happy, everybody's happy. But they also have to face the problems, the reality sometimes, if idiots coming and want to destroy it again.
Do you think this model could be implemented in other countries
Yes.
around the world?
Yes.
Is,
I think, I mean...
are you working on it?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I did a lot of work in Detroit, but if we have the roots, or we were in Beijing, in China, and I'm always so with my romantic eyes, I said, we will make it, but it was not possible. We had, they just sent, one day we were very close,
the
actually.
philosophy of techno.
Yeah, we were very close, and then the police came. It was a day when this artist Ai Weiwei was arrested, and they came like, can you give us the keys? We had already a venue and everything, and can you go home? Very friendly, it's right to go from China. But because I thought China, I met so great people there, youngsters, also in St. Petersburg and so, but it's not possible. Till a special point, you can do what you want, but if you talk about, in China, about free Tibet or anything else, you're in trouble,
Yeah.
But so I have to realize, so also I was 2 weeks ago in Dakar, in Senegal, and you fly 6 hours from Brussels to Dakar, and for me, it was a completely different world, Nobody talks about techno, nobody talks about Trump, completely different, and they have an average age of 16 years, and they understand how to live the moment, not tomorrow I come, or in 2 years, or I will do. And they live in big families, like 4 generations. So it was different, but I thought, wow, on our planet, 6 hours ride, and you out, or you in another thing. I like that.
Nowadays, do people still get scared of by anything labeled as electronic or club scene? Do you think...
Scare? What do you mean?
The people, the institutions, when you...
No, not really.
When you talk, I want to make an electronic festival, an electronic music, an electronic DJ.
I come, what I will do is always...
He get nervous.
What I do, I have a special strategy,
Huh?
And the strategy is always, I compare cities.
You can wash.
No, I compare cities, When we have, for instance, I take sometimes Berlin, and I have the numbers because we did some studies. I told you 1.5 billion, it's a turnover because of the clubs, and it makes the city attractive. And if I take all these numbers and go to Detroit, I find out the numbers too. It's a bit research, and the question is, what do you have we do not have in Berlin, or what do we have what you don't have, And then we have a discussion. They take me more serious now. When I was a young punk, nobody talked to. But now they take me serious, and they say, oh, look, and it takes just a few minutes, and we come to a point, Detroit was always Detroit is the mecca of music in America for me, We had from
Chicago, sorry.
Iggy Pop, Patti Smith, and everybody, hip-hop, Eminem, we have Motown, we have... we have Detroit Techno, White Stripes, we have a lot, the MC5, the history of and jazz, a lot of... if you have been, and they have enough space, but they do not understand how to market the city, They don't understand it because they have a curfew. The curfew is by 2 o'clock. By 2 o'clock, finito. You must be out of the venue. And after years of blah, 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 I talked to Mayor Duggan, and
I'm sorry.
Team, he said, now they can stay longer in the club, but liquor is finished by 2.
Yeah. In the same sense, we are going to finish this talk.
Yeah, but okay, then last sentence for Detroit. They also need club makers, nobody understands it. They risk, incredible events, but they fail.
Yeah.
So much failing, it's sad to see, because they make mistakes. If they would maybe just visit our academy, or a similar academy would be there, then they understand, because they make incredible forces. They, like an example, they engage Madonna, and maybe If they don't have the money or the people do not come, whatever, it's just an example. So they don't know about business and they make big mistakes, and then the dream is over forever. This is a problem. Yeah.
So, to be continued.
Okay. All right.
Thanks all. Thanks, Dimitri. It was a really pleasure and an honor share this time and a piece of my life with you. Really, I feel that. Thanks for all your knowledge and experience in this item, in this point, in this point of view about the electronic music. And I want to finish with the new slogan for the future, okay? This makes the electronic culture great again. Thanks.